episode of my Musings podcast. I'm your host, Gungo Mildred, and I'm so grateful that you're back here today. So, on today's episode, I thought that I would muse about Matatu Chronicles, My Matatu Chronicles. Like, just everything. Okay, not everything per se, but some of the things I've been through in matatus and my experiences in matatus. So if you are born and raised in Kenya, or if you've ever been in Kenya, you know about the matatu thing. So yeah, I don't like them. I don't like them at all. I don't hate them, but I don't like them. You know, I feel like I use them just because, I'm broke. But if I was born rich, maybe I would have gone into a matatu once in my life just for the thrill of it, ile tu kuona how they feel like, and then I would have never gone into them ever again. But as in the same breath, I'm also very, very appreciative of them because they've helped me move from one place to another all my life. So thank you for the matatu circles in Kenya. I mean, all the ones that I've used, But so I've had some good moments and I've had some bad moments, like most of you, I'm sure. And I just thought about sharing some of them. So when I moved out of home, this I think is one of the better moments, like the moments that I love being in a matatu. So when I moved out of home when I was 23, I moved to Githurai. If you listen to the 9 years in Kasarani podcast, you know that, yeah, I moved to Githurai 45 first. So, and by that time, during that year that I was moving there, so 2013, 2014, those are the years that Unified Poor were releasing a matatu like every other month, they were releasing a matatu. So in 2014, I started working in Westlands, and I remember I used to go, like, there were morning shifts, day shifts or night shifts. So during the night shifts, or maybe when I'm coming back from work at night, we'll get into the matatus, and because they were new, the lights were still working, the disco lights inside the buses. And my God, I love that. I remember this one I used to love. It was a minibus, a green one, a Unified Poor green minibus. Of course, the art is amazing. You know that the Mtwana culture, Matatu culture in Kenya, you know how amazing the arts on those buses and matatus are. But that was just beside it. But the lights, the way they will go, I don't know. It will just do something to you. You are in there and they're just dancing and nini, and you're coming from work, you're stressed, but then they will just calm me down and all of that. I think that is a memory that I love about the matatus. And another memory, I don't know if it's a good memory or bad memory. In one of those buses, I kissed the guy that I spoke about on the other episode, where I was speaking about people that I thought I loved, but I wasn't really in love with them. Yeah, the second guy. I once kissed him in one of those matatus. At night, I was coming from a night shift, and from a day shift actually. And so we went to town together. I don't know how that happened because that was not his shift. I don't know, but we met in town, I think, and we went into the matatu, made out a little bit inside there until he left because the matatu was full and we were supposed to leave. But yo, those were the good old days. I was 24 and I was so brave, kissing in a matatu. Who would have thought? I'm a very good girl. But yeah, that happened back then. So another good memory being in a matatu. There's this thing I do. Okay, being an introvert is weird, and I'm weird. I make friends that do not know that I'm their friend. Yeah. So there are these two people that live in Kasarani. So where I live, there are 3 streets, the estates. So they live in the second street, I think. But I will go to work with them at the same time every single day. So every morning, I'll be at the matatu stage, and they will be there. They will meet me there. We'll be there. We used to leave home at the same time. They were friends, I think, but I never said hi to them. We've never spoken. But you know that these people are going away. One of them, the man, so it's a lady and a gentleman. So the gentleman, we used to alight together in Gara, and the lady will go up to town. So I became friends, and I say friends and I put it in quotes, with these people because they were my people. Whenever I go to the stage and not find them, I'll be like, oh my God, am I really late? Or what is happening? Are they sick? Are they, like what's happening? So it used to be just weird. I will get there, and maybe when the matatus would refuse to stop at our stage, and then they will finally turn around and come, we'll get one that will turn around and come. Because I'm short, yeah. It will be easy for me to, like get in between the people and sneak and get into the matatu, because now everybody wants to be able to get into the matatu fast because everybody is running late. So being short, it used to help. Then I will get in there and sit, and I'm like, did they get a seat? Did they enter? Are they okay? Are they, because one of them, if one of them entered, they will go and shika kitty for the other person, hold the chair for the other person. But then me, Juni Mengi, and there's a seat next to me that's empty. I'll be like, okay, I wish there were two, so that they could come and sit with me and stuff like that. It was just a weird thing I used to do. I don't know. And since I haven't been going to work, I saw the lady a while back. I was going to buy some dinner, and I saw her downstairs. She walked by, and then she did a double take, like just to make sure that it was me. So I was like, yeah, we were friends, lady. We were friends. We never spoke to each other, like, ever, but we were friends. I sat with either of them at some point going to work. At some point, we sat together with one of them at some point. So at some point, I sat with the lady, another point, I sat with the gentleman, but we never spoke either way. So yeah, it was a weird thing that I used to do, but I loved it. And the lady loved reading. I think I made her start reading because I would read in the matatus. So I would go in the morning listening to whoever was in the morning kiss. And because I would have my earphones on, listening to radio, and then I would read something on my phone or a physical book going to work. And so at first, she never used to do that because I would see her. Funny thing, they will always sit somewhere that I could see them. But then at some point, I don't know, she sat with me at one time, and then the next time I saw her, she was reading a book on her phone. So yeah, she should thank me. And I'm saying welcome to her. Because I influenced her to do something good, something great to pass time alone in a matatu, because whenever she will be alone, whenever the guy will be late and they will have to sit separately, she will be bored all the way to town. But then after I introduced her to reading, she never was bored ever again. So that was a good thing. I hope that she still does that she still reads on the matatu going to work if her friend is not there. But yeah, that was a good memory. Something else that was good in a matatu. Oh, just the whole thing of people standing for me, calling me mama. Mama, kuto keti hapa. I love it. I know some ladies will hate it because, like, why are you aging me like that? I don't care. You're standing and you're letting me sit. Oh my God, thank you. Asante sana kijana yangu, asante. Then I sit down. And then I'll sit down because comfort is what I want. So I don't care about any other thing. But yeah, that was a good thing. So I'm going to talk now about, like, some of the now, chronicles, some of the bad things that happened. Well, not really, really bad, but yeah, some of the things that happened that shouldn't really have happened in a matatu with me. So years ago, my aunt was living in Gashie. So, and my grandma was living in Muthaiga. When I say Muthaiga, don't think that we're living in the rich people houses now. My grandmother worked at Gatwood's Children's Hospital, so we were living in the staff quarters. They are now demolished, but yeah, we used to live there. So we were coming from there, going to my aunt's place. So it was my aunt, my cousin, and myself. So we go and get into a matatu going to Gashie, and then I had this tote bag, and tote bags, it didn't have a zip. So it was open at the top, and it had, I don't know if I had carried clothes or what was in the bag, but I remember it was a blue one, a turquoise blue bag, and it had a couple of things inside. And then on the top, there was this, these red bags that Kenya Airways give to their clients, the one that has a toothpaste, blah blah blah, those things. So I had it, and it had like my beauty products inside of it. I didn't have money, I wasn't working, so I didn't have money, like a purse with money, but that one was on top. So I had tried to cover it, but I think when I sat down, part of the cloth that I had used to cover it, the top of the tote bag was, it moved. So people could see what was inside, sort of. There was this bagger that was sitting next to me. So as we are moving, because you know how this matters, like that's one of the things I hate about matatus. The way they force you kukaa watu wanne kama PK. Panganeni, panganeni. These Nissan ones, like not the big Ninganya, like Nissan. So we were sat. So my aunt, I think, was at the end carrying my cousin. And then it was me. And then there was this man and then somebody else at the end. So this man has sat and he's trying to use his hand. So the way we were sat, his left hand was on the opposite side, but he has crossed it over his body and he's put it underneath his right arm, and he's trying to get to that bag. He was trying to get to it. So I'm seeing his hand move and I'm like, what is this? I hit I tap my aunt and I show her like what the guy is doing, and we all turn and look at him, and he's pretending like he's not seeing. He's looking ahead. He's not even looking at what we are doing. I'm like, what is this guy trying to do? So he continues and I'm like, hey, yo, what are you doing? Are you trying to steal from me? And then he starts yelling, kukuibia na kuibia nini? Kwa nini akuibiwa? Mimi si mwizi. Bora niangalie. And he started insulting me and I'm like, I've seen you. You are trying to get this pouch. Do you want to see what it's inside? Do you want to see what is inside of it? There's nothing important. It doesn't have money. So even if you would have stolen it, you wouldn't afford anything. And when I say beauty products, I use beauty products, but I'm using the term beauty products very loosely here, because it only had eye pencils and lipstick. Zile zilikuwanga za green, and when you apply on your lips, they turn red. Those ones, like some very, very cheap things, some earrings, nini nini za kubai 50 bob mia mia tao. So it didn't have like expensive things, but this guy was trying to steal it. And then when I caught him, he wanted to cause a scenario that wasn't really necessary. But anyway, I shut that down. My aunt helped to shut it down, and he kept quiet. He wasn't forced to alight, because the downside of matatu is that once a lady starts complaining about a man doing anything to her, as you know, nobody else talks. Like, people just keep quiet, and that's one thing I've just never understood, because we all know some heinous things that have happened in matatus to women, and the other people just kept quiet, including other women who were in that same matatu. So yeah, nobody spoke up. We sat, but I moved my bag so he couldn't even touch it, and then he alighted before us, I think, which was good, because maybe he would have seen where we were going and he would have done something bad. But yeah, that was one thing that shook me a little bit, but I think that has been the worst so far. God help me that nothing bad happens, like knock on wood and everything. But yeah, so something else, another Matatu Chronicle. Well, in the 9 years in Kasarani episode, I explained that thing with the Matatu, the Kasarani, and the way they used to do to us, kutuacha huko Juja Road. Yeah, that was not a good thing. If you do not know that story, go back and listen. But yeah, that was a bad thing in a Matatu. So there's this one time I got into a Matatu, and hey, you know how you get into a Matatu and it starts moving. So nimepanda, I'm going to nenda kujishikilia kwa zile chuma zinakuanga like on the headrest or the backrest in the matatu. So nenda kushikilia, and this one was loose on one side. So I go to hold it because the matatu has moved, and so I almost fell. So I go to support myself using that, and then it moves. The gentleman who was sitting on that chair, that chuma, it went and hit him on the head. And me, of course, because I didn't mean to hurt him, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I start rubbing his head. A moment of silence so that you can picture that. This was someone's dad, probably. And here I am rubbing on his head. And my God, I'm so sorry. I was rubbing on his head, like, and saying, like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. I didn't know that it was moving. And it's there, like, it's okay, ni sawa, ni sawa. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I'm continuing rubbing on his head. He was bald headed. Oh my God. Yeah, so that was a cringy moment for me, for him, for anybody who saw it. I'm still sorry that I hurt him. Uzuri haikumuumiza, like he didn't bleed or anything. And I hope that there was no, like long-term effects or anything. But yeah, that was a thing that happened to me in a matatu. And sometimes, you remember when I said that other episode of me about, overthinking? I don't know why I didn't mention that, because sometimes it comes back and I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why was I rubbing on his head? I know I had him. I should have just said sorry and moved on. But yeah, there was a thing I did. I was rubbing his head because I'd hurt him and I didn't mean it. And I didn't want to, because this is the thing with me. I don't like hurting people intentionally or, unintentionally. So yeah, that comes to me every once in a while. And I remember that I had a man in a matatu and then I rubbed on his bald head. Yeah. So that was something that happened. Another matatu thing that happened while I was here was any good thing, any bad thing. Oh, being friends with the makangas and the derevas. Maybe I think the route here, Githurai 45, when I was living there's a time I didn't have a job. So from 2013, after I moved out, I lost my job. I quit my job actually. As I said in a previous episode, that it was because of tribalism. So I had to quit my job. So I quit my job and for some time I didn't have money. So I would have like 200 shillings, come back to Githurai, buy, skuma wiki and nini and eat it until ni back in a 10 bob. When I'm back in a 10 bob, I will go back to my grandmother's because she will give me 200 for fare ya kurudi Kasarani. I mean, not Kasarani, ya kurudi Githurai 45. And then 200 don't get to me a 10 bob, going back to Githurai 45. And then the rest of that money, I would use it until nibaki tena na 10 bob to go back to my grandma's, like repeat. So I used to do that so much that watu wa hiyo mtaa wakanizoea makanga. They used to see me, hey, msichana wa Muthaiga, kuja panda. I forget the name of that matatu. It wasn't Unified Power this time. It was another one. It used to be white with some stripes, I think. But I've forgotten what it's called. But they used to love me. I don't know. They would see me and be like, msichana wa Muthaiga, kuja twende. Because I would do that every single week. And then I would always make sure that ni 10 bob. So sometimes nimebaki na hiyo 10 bob and I leave the house. I prepare myself properly. I leave the house. I go to the stage and that day it's not 10 shillings. It's 20 shillings. And mbele nyuma, I only have this 10. Beautiful thing about the matatu guys is that they would allow, if I ask them like me sina 20 bob, niko na 10 peke yake, sikuwa najua mtakuwa 20 bob, they would allow me to just go and then I'll pay them the 10 shillings. I think even once or twice they have allowed me to just go without paying. That's how much known I was. But then when I didn't find the guys that knew me, I will go to the stage, nijifanya hapo niko busy na chagua hapo nyanya nini. Nikisikia haijapunguka to 10 bob, I use another route. I go back to the house until the next day I'll go and try again. So yeah, hard times. But I'm so grateful to those people that used to allow me to just panda bure, which was very good and very kind of them. Gari pia za 106, going to Aga Khan, going to Parklands. Oh my God. Garis Nissans of Kasarani, coming back home. I think I had a friend who was a driver, which was good. But the thing is, he would want to talk, but being in a matatu, that's like my quiet time because I've been at work talking to people or just being around people sometimes. And then I get into a matatu, I don't want to talk. I just want to listen to my music or my podcast and go home. And this guy wants to talk. So it will be like zile za, hey, sasa. And then I'll be like, poa sana, umepotea niko. Sijakuwa na wendo, sijaonekana hapa, blah, 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 such kind of talks. And then napanda hapo mbele, na make sure kuna mtu amekaa katikati between the driver and I, and then silence up to fike. But sometimes he would be like, break the silence and ask me a question or two, then we will talk, and then we'll move forward, and then we'll go home. It was just some funny issues, and we'll make fun of people who will sit at the middle, and then they will start acting up. Because, sometimes people just behave funny. That middle seat, you hapo kwa dere hapo mbele na Nissan, inakuanga uncomfortable in some matatus. In his matatu, it wasn't so uncomfortable, but I never liked sitting there. I don't like being confined, like confined in a tiny space. So sikuwa napenda kukaa between the driver and this other person. Because depending on the person who's going to sit on the window seat, some of them just sit badly. So I always love to sit by the window. Then the window will be down, fresh air, nini, people coughing. I get so, I'm a germaphobe. So yeah, that never went down well for me. So sometimes somebody was sitting at the middle, they would just behave badly. There was this lady who had the tiniest of dresses, like it was a micro mini dress, and she sat at the middle. All her thighs were out. My God, I'm all for my dress, my choice, believe you me, but that one, the driver was like, what? And then she got an attitude before she alighted. I don't know what happened. I think she asked the driver something, and the driver, because he was trying not to look at her thighs, I don't know what he said. And then she became insulting. So when she wanted to alight, the driver, because alishukia pale TRM, so the driver ameingia hiyo, anybody mwenye anakuja hizi side za huku Kasarani and Thika Road, mnajua the stage, si stage per se, but mali watu ushukisha hapo TRM. So the driver anaenda kuingia hapo asimamishe gari. This lady, it's like she wants to climb over me, ashuke. Gari jasimama, mlango hatujafungua, nothing has happened, but she's like, she just wants to move. And when she moves, the dress moves higher, which is nowhere actually. So it was a terrible scene. So the driver was trying as much as he could not to look. And now because me, I know the effect, so I'm looking at him and enyewe wasichana utesa watu kwa saa zingine. But yeah, she did that. So it was just, no, it was a no. It was just a bad day. And then for her, not for me, I loved it. Because the way she was behaving, I was just like, you are lucky I'm from work. I do not have the energy to argue. So when she alighted, the driver was like, nini usumbue wasichana saa zingine? Nini usumbue gender yenyu? Because why was she behaving the way she was behaving? So yeah, it was just a crazy thing that we experienced that day. Matatus, another moment. Going to Thika, I don't know. These people, the makangas, sometimes they can make you so upset. As I said, sipendi kukaa like hiyo squeezed mmeweka watu wanne. And then this was post COVID. After COVID, so things have started going back to normal. I was going to Thika to my uncle. So I was going to Thika, and then I sat. It was still, COVID hadn't gone completely. Nilikuwa tumeanza tu kutoka kwa the ya kuvaa mask nini, but I was still wearing mine in all that. So we sit, and this time I didn't get space hapo kwa driver, so I was sat right behind the driver, ile seat ya watu watatu. So we start moving, and the moment we go away from Nairobi, where there are no askaris now, this person starts filling in the car. Ametoa sambaza, ameanza kuweka huko katikati, watu wakae wanne. I refuse, obviously, to sit like that. Because I'm like, I wanted to sit near a window so that I can, I can be able to get the fresh air. But if I now allow somebody else to come and sit as the third person, and I become the fourth person at the window, if we are stopped by cops in this matatu, I'll be the extra passenger. So I was like, I'm not having that. I refuse to move. Uzuri watu nilikuwa nimekaa nao pia, they were like, we don't want that. We're not moving. So what does this makanga do? Anajaza hapo nyuma mali anafaa kukaa. Anakuja mbele yangu hapa mali mimi nimekaa, anainama. So his whole body is imekava seat yangu, imenikava mbele mimi and this other person, and he's talking and he's turning and he's taking money from behind and he's how in have you ever been disappointed and angry and feel insulted and violated all at once? I felt that. I'm like, can you just stop that? Kama unataka kuchukua pesa nini, ngoje gari isimame, then you can do that, but not in front of me. And then he wants to talk, and when he turns to talk to the people behind him, his face now, he's like, right? No, no. Just remembering that scenario is making me upset. Because why do they do that? Why do Makangas do that? You're making me uncomfortable. And because I've refused to do something that you know is wrong. Oof. The best time of my life in Matatus was during COVID. Because during that time, the social distancing, being in a matatu easy kubwa, like the Nganyas, by myself, kwa hiyo viti mbili. Oh, that was the best time of my life because I will sit by myself and I'll be at peace. Like nobody is, disturbing me. Hakuna kufinywa na elbow. I don't know why people do not have matatu etiquette. Ukikaa kwa matatu, please keep your arm to yourself. Stop sitting in a matatu like you're sitting in your own home. Umeka elbow yako kwa nini ribs the next person. Why were you sitting like that? Why are you sitting as if you're sitting in your living room? You're not in your sitting room. That's not your sofa. It's a matatu. Have some matatu etiquette. Put your hands to yourself. And please do not manspread. I don't know why people do that. As I said, I don't hate matatus, but I don't love them. I don't. I really don't. I don't hate them because they help. Without them, most of us wouldn't be able to go anywhere. So I don't hate them, but I also just don't love them. But God hasn't blessed me with a car. I pray to God one day I have a car. Amen. Amen. But yeah, so there's this thing that I have. I don't know. I'm weird. Sometimes I'm just a weird person. Whenever somebody sits next to me, depending on who they are, it doesn't matter male, female. As I said, I'm a very passive person. So you might sit next to me. I might not know your skin color, what you were dressed in. I don't know. I won't even know the slightest thing about you. Like, tunaweza shikwa na askari na tuambiwe mtu alikuwa amekaa kando yako alibia mtu. And I wouldn't know. Like, askari anaweza nishika for no reason. Akidhania nadanganya, but really, I did not look at them. I did not see them. Because me, once I have my earphones on, nivo. And if I'm reading something on my phone, a book, nivo, I will not know anything that is happening next to me. So sometimes somebody will sit next to me and I don't know, my sixth sense, because I always go with what I feel. Like if I meet you and I feel like you're a good person, I will go with that feeling. If I feel like you're not a good person, I also go with that feeling as well. So this person will sit next to me and I will feel like if they're good, I won't feel like they're invading my space or anything like that. I'll be okay. I'll be comfortable. But if they are not, if my sixth sense senses that this person is bad or something, I will have a phantom feeling of them touching me, even if they are not. So wherever our bodies have touched, I will feel like they are pressing on me so hard that it's painful. So I try to move, and sometimes I don't know what happens to people's minds. When you try to move to get comfortable, this person also moves with you. And I'm like, hey, I'm moving away from you. Stop moving towards me. But yeah, so I move and then there's space and I feel like, again, the phantom feeling of them still touching me even if they're not. And I hate that. I will feel uncomfortable. I'll want to move, but I can't because it's a matatu and it's full and it's moving. So there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, matatus, like, I appreciate them. I thank them. But sometimes, I don't know. It's just terrible. So as I was saying, like during COVID time was the best time for me in being in a matatu because the social distancing was just amazing. Sometimes when I'm tired and I don't want to share space with somebody and I have enough money, I'll just be like tell the conductor, nalipia vitu zote mbili. And I'll just sit on them, put my bag on the other one, travel like that because I just don't want to be touched by anybody. I don't want anybody's, presence near me. So yeah, and I have the worst allergies as well. So if you've ever seen me out of my house going somewhere, being in a matatu, I always have a scarf. Yes, it helps with cold, but also if I'm wearing something that is sleeveless, it helps protect my hand whenever I'm sitting next to somebody in a matatu. Because of my allergies, whatever oil they're using, whatever lotion they're using, whatever it is they have on their skin, if they touch me and my skin reacts to it, I'll wake up the next day with pimples all over my hand. So, yeah, matatus are great and I'm grateful for them for helping me move from one place to the other. But sometimes, oof, they're just hectic for me, you know. But yeah, we appreciate God and we thank God for them. We thank God for whoever suggested that we have them in Kenya or whatever. And yeah, we love the art. We love the lights. As I said, the ones from Githurai 45. I always love the lights in them. And yeah, sometimes it will feel like you're in just a different place. And because also mentally I was in a different space at the time, I used to love that atmosphere. But now, I guess also as I grow older, I just don't want to be in one. Thankfully, since I'm not going to work nowadays, there's times I spend in matatus like once a month or once in 2 or 3 months while I'm going for an interview or something. So it has been a good relief, like not being in one every single day. So yeah. But either way, I'm still grateful. We always give thanks no matter what, with the good, with the bad, we give thanks because everything we experience teaches us, one thing or the other. So those have been some of the few things I've been through in a matatu. I don't know about you. You can share with me your experiences on the comments down below and we can laugh and cry together. If it's bad, hope it's not bad, but we can just laugh and cry, like crying as when you're so happy because you have laughed so hard. And yeah, so we cry. But yeah, so share with me about your experiences in a matatu. Tell me the craziest things you have ever experienced. Like, let's not even go to the strikes when they happen. So yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, let's be able to communicate and understand each other and just know how it goes. So before I end today's episode, I wanted to just tell everyone who's been listening so far, thank you so much for being here, first and foremost. Thank you for always coming whenever I put out a new post. If you have listened from the first one to this one, I'm super, super grateful to you. Thank you. May God bless you abundantly. And also, I know I'm talking about my experiences. They might be boring to some of you, and I'm sorry. This is a new thing I'm trying to see, to find my footing. I'm trying to see what I'll do, how much I can do, how much I can share, how I'm supposed to share it, composing myself. It's not easy. I thought at the beginning that editing was hard. Now that I'm getting used to it, editing is easy. Finding something to talk about and actually make it be engaging enough for people to listen from the beginning to the end, that is the hardest thing. So for now, I'm just talking about me. These are musings about me, about my life, about my story, my journey. So maybe at some point I can involve other people, but for now it's just me. So don't get bored, please. Just listen. As I said, comment in kind, just be there, be present. And if you want me to talk about something else, tell me what you need me to talk about. As I said during the intro, episode, tell me what you need me to talk about. I'll do my research on it and I'll be able to speak about it. Other than that, it's just me talking about my life, some aspects of it anyway, things I can remember from growing up and everything I've experienced up to now. So please bear with me. Don't get disappointed. Don't get bored. Because if you don't get bored and get disappointed, that will give me motivation to continue, recording these little stories and just putting them up for you. And maybe at some point you'll be bigger and, experience everything that you experience in any other podcast that you listen to. So please bear with me. Okay. And yeah, I'll be super, super grateful. So after you listen, please make sure you like, you comment, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that you can be the first one to listen whenever I put a new show up. And I'll be super, super grateful. Okay. Bye bye now. Love you.